Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Buddy. We drop a new podcast every Friday morning with a new story that will impact someone. We hope that someone is you. I just want to say thank you again to all the listeners each week who take the time to hear the stories of our guests. If you'd please take a moment and subscribe to our podcast, give us a review, and share this podcast with your friends, family, and on your favorite social media platform. We want to get these messages out to the people and to impact the world one testimony at a time. This morning, I'm excited and grateful to introduce you to my guest, Alex Ferry, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Well, hey, I got lots of questions for you, but let me do a little introduction of you first, things I know about you, and then we'll dive deep on the history of Alex Ferry and kind of what makes you are who you are today.
Yeah.
So one thing I know about you, well, we've been going to the same church for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
You were born in that church, right? Salem Heights?
Yep, basically. Yeah.
And you're how old right now?
29.
Dude, you're 29?
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Almost 30.
Almost 30.
I'm getting there.
30 is where real manhood really begins, actually.
Oh, good to know. All right. No, yeah.
It actually begins at manhood.
All right, I'm looking forward to it then.
So, yeah. Okay, so you are married to Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been married?
We were married 7 years.
Man, time flies.
I know.
Guess recently had a baby. Her name is Nora.
Nora Jane. Yep.
Nora Jane. How old is Nora?
She's almost 1.5. So,
dude, it's like you guys just had her, and she's already 1.5.
I know. She has more personality than I would have ever expected.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you'll blink and she'll be 18 before you know it.
I believe it. So, yeah, you experienced that recently.
Yes, exactly. I can remember my girls as little girls, and now they're 26 and 24. One's married. But yeah, be praying for that future husband one day down the road if that's what is
exactly.
Important to you.
Yeah.
You went to Corbin and you played basketball there.
I did. Yep.
What was your degree in? That's something I don't think I know.
Yeah. So I did just bachelor's of business administration.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Did you have any thoughts at that point in time what you wanted to do with that?
No.
Or was it just like,
I figured I'd do business. I'd work my way up in some corporate job, whatever it might have been. Yeah.
Because you were at Costco at that time.
I worked odd jobs everywhere. I mean, I worked for my dad super part-time. I worked at Costco part-time, anything that fit the schedule of basketball and school.
Okay. But you worked. Was that something your mom and dad made you do? Like, you're going to work or?
No, I mean, they said I had to pay for my own things if I wanted them. So I wanted to work so I could buy things and pay for gas. Otherwise, you can't go anywhere.
Having parents that make your kids work. My parents made me work.
Mm-hmm.
I look back and it's probably really one of the greatest gifts my parents gave me was, you're going to work. You want that? That's no problem. We'll love you, but you're going to work for everything.
Yep.
I wouldn't trade that for anything. So I can see how that molded and shaped who you are, because you're in the community, you're a hard worker, and you're on the scene, my friend. So it's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
You currently own a company called State Farm, or an agency, a State Farm agency, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You worked for your dad for a while. Now, how long have you owned your own agency?
Yeah. So I've owned my own agency for about 1.5 years now.
Right.
Still pretty new at it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you've been doing it for a long time, because, you drive the red and white State Farm truck, and I love your branding. It's awesome. You guys are literally everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to learn from the best. So appreciate my dad.
Your dad did it well.
Yeah.
And then, your dad, did Bruce Wood kind of coach your dad a little bit?
Yeah. So Bruce was kind of my dad's mentor, still is. And so growing up, we all always called him Grandpa Bruce. Still do. And now Nora will call him Great Grandpa Bruce.
That's right. It's funny though, and we'll talk more about, but just hearing your story that your dad mentored you, but your dad also had a mentor. And then I bet Bruce had a mentor. You know?
I'm sure.
And so to navigate this life, it feels like we have to have mentors. And just a quick side note, your father-in-law, which I became friends with Russ back in 2004. Yeah. Russ and I were in a Bible study together. We didn't know each other. And Bruce Wood was our mentor, teacher, coach.
Wow.
And so Russ and I developed a great friendship way back when.
Okay.
And we're still great friends today. So
yeah.
Having a mentor, being mentored, you have no idea what that means. Because most men don't want to be mentored, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But
okay.
All right. And the last thing I wrote down here is you're a real estate investor.
Yeah.
So that might be what we really want to dig deep on. So let's leave that one to the last, because I love real estate. Right. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting, but I want to maybe hear your journey to that. But So tell me where you grew up. Tell me about life as a kid growing up, how your parents influenced you. I know work is part of that.
Yeah.
Siblings, just the whole story. We're going to hear about Alex. We're going to learn about Alex.
All right. Yeah. Where do I begin? I mean, I was born in Salem, Oregon, grew up here my whole life. So for those of us that are around the valley, I went to McKinley, went to Leslie Middle School, went to South Salem, and then I'll just finish up that journey, but I went to Chemeketa, took the 2 freebie years that they offer.
Gotta love it.
Ended up playing basketball there, and then earned a scholarship over to Corban University. So wrapped up my bachelor's there, and then even further finished my MBA there as well. So yeah.
So you have an MBA as well. That's interesting. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of my journey through school. But I mean, growing up, it was me. I have a younger brother, Heath. He's over in Texas, working in the Costco world and rising there. And then my younger sister, Josie, she works in our office actually. So she's licensed on the insurance side now. She's married and living in town. And then my youngest sister is actually still in high school. So there's quite the spread of age group.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're the oldest of 4. Well, I've told 4 of you.
Yep.
That's awesome. What does that mean to be the oldest? Do you feel a certain responsibility? Did mom and dad put more pressure on you just because you're a firstborn? What's that like?
Yeah, I don't know. I tried not to carry like any expectation on myself, and I think that my parents did a good job of not putting a lot of burdens on me. It's like, hey, you are the old, like, yes, there's responsibility that comes with being the oldest, but they weren't like trying to make me the parent of these younger siblings. And so like we always joke that me, Heath, and Josie, we helped raise Haley because she was so much younger that we were hanging out with her all the time, and we were in high school that time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's funny. So how old is Haley?
Haley is 16 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13-year gap difference. I always tell the story. I'll tell it again. But my dad has 8 brothers and 5 sisters, so there's 14 kids.
Goodness.
And I think from the age of 20 to 40, my grandma was pregnant for 20 years. I'm not joking, man. It's
I mean, the math would have to be.
You just do the math, and so I get the age. I mean, my dad's oldest brother is 91. The youngest one, I think 70, 71.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Love siblings, so they're fun.
Yeah. Well, cool. Okay, so you go to South Salem, you go to Chemeketa, then go over to Corban, get your MBA. Yeah, how did you, I guess, navigate to where you're at now? You're at State Farm, worked for your dad for a while.
Yeah, so I worked just kind of all the odd jobs going through high school and college. And I think part of that was my parents encouraged me strongly to get out and get a job. I mean, we had school, we had sports, but I mean, you still got your weekends usually and your evenings. And so I started in high school working at like Figaro's. I worked some janitorial services that were the after hours. And so it opened up at least some opportunities to make money. Yeah. And then from there, as I got into college years, I tried to look for some more career path type opportunities. So I did a stint over at Nike for a little bit, worked at the outlet store, and kind of had some opportunities to look at the company within.
Yeah.
And I pretty quickly realized that wasn't the journey for me. Not a fan of necessarily the politics of a big company. And it's for some people, but not me.
At least you know now, man.
Yep,
now you're
exactly.
10 years into a career and realize, wait a second.
Yeah, that's why I was advised, my dad, one of those people telling me, but test out as many places as you can, find out what you hate to do. So then that's not the route you want to go. And so
it's great advice. By the way.
No, I mean, I still hold to it this day. You got to find the things you hate so that way you can find what you actually enjoy.
It's interesting because most people are trying to find what they love, but they can't figure it out. And they end up working a job they actually hate, but they're still looking for what they love. Now figure out what you absolutely, that's one of my favorite questions when I ask people, hey, what do you love about working here?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you hate?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to know really what you absolutely dislike, because we can get rid of that and help you focus on what you love. And people love coming to work when they figure out what they love, but they can't do that until they figure out what they don't like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard nowadays, even when we look at like resumes for people, if there's not a work history, it's like, hey, you don't even know what you want to do. So we're seeing more and more of that. But yeah, we encourage people, like, when you're young, just go get a job, do something. Like, don't wait for finding what you love. Just try something out, make some money, have some work ethic, and then go from there.
So you guys probably wouldn't hire somebody with no work history, like you've never had any experience. You're probably not going to let them come work for you until they've got a few jobs under their belt.
I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, some of that is like we get the opportunity to coach and mold people that have a blank slate.
So there might be some benefit there.
Okay. Yeah. So it's all based on
So
interview.
It's not a no.
No. Yes. Yeah.
That's actually
there's always an opportunity. Yeah.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Walk me through your journey of playing basketball at Chemeketa, then at Corbin. What does that mean to you? How did that? I'm sure you're pretty competitive.
Very.
And you have a younger brother. Usually it's brothers that are pretty competitive. You and Heath, are you guys pretty competitive?
Yeah, growing up, I mean, we were very close in age. I think we're like a year and some months apart, so very close.
Okay.
So there was always some rub.
And you're tougher than he is, I'm pretty sure, right?
He's actually the tougher one. Yeah,
you'll admit that. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's been times where we were wrestling in middle school, high school, and I would get him in a chokehold, and he wouldn't tap; he would just pass out. So he would go to blackout. Tough. He would, and whereas me, like I'd be like, "No, I'm tapping."
I'm gonna tap out, man.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. But yeah, I've been, at least through the competitive side. So my journey at Chemeketa, my first year, my freshman year, I actually tried out for the team, just tried to walk on, and I did not make the team. I got
cut. Chemeketa. Okay.
Yep. So my freshman year, and going from high school to college is a very big difference. I was like, man, I am a boy amongst men here.
Wow.
I mean, it was pretty eye-opening, and I knew that I wasn't going to make the team. I was just trying out for fun more so.
Yeah.
And that year they actually won nationals. So I mean, I wasn't on the team for a reason.
Wow.
They were good.
They were good. Quite a few seniors probably that year, I'm guessing.
Yep. Yeah. So then the next year I was like, well, it's my sophomore year. I'll have some free time. Might as well try out again. And so I did try out again. I actually sprained my ankle during tryouts, but I taped up, showed up the next day for tryouts, sprained it again. And the coach was like, okay, Alex, if you're going to keep trying out, like, I'll let you redshirt and you can sit on the sideline till your ankle heals. I was like, all right, sweet.
Done.
So, I mean, I kept showing up.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciated Coach Abder Holland. He was a yeller, but he wanted his guys to be disciplined and wanted them to work hard. And so for me, like that's what I enjoy most about basketball is how much effort are you putting into whether it's offense or defense. And so in the course of that year, actually at Chemeketa, I went from a red shirt to they moved me up into a player status because we had some guys get in trouble. So they got kicked off the team. Yeah.
Too bad for them. Good for you.
Sad for them. Yep. Good for me. And so opportunity came and I answered. And then as the year progressed, I ended up continuing to get more playing time. Eventually, by the end of the year, I had started a few games. And from there, Corbin had recruited me. And I had no intention of playing college basketball. I was like, in high school, I was not the most skilled, not the most athletic. I was just a kid that worked really hard. And so that earned me essentially my spot at Corbin after Chemeketa.
Okay. So then that gave you two more play, or because you technically you didn't play your first year, you redshirted the second year, does that give you
So I did play my second year. So Chemeketa, my sophomore year, I played that year. And then my junior and senior year at Corbin, I did play. And then I did my MBA. So I wasn't going to do my MBA, but I had 1 more year of eligibility. So a new coach had came in and was like, hey, Alex, I know you've been on the team for a few years. Appreciate your leadership. Would you mind sticking around for 1 more year?
Absolutely.
And I was like, all right, let's do it. And so, did my MBA and then got an extra year to play some hoops with some cool guys.
So did you get through your entire college in 5 years? Was the MBA a 1 year?
It was a 2 year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now it's a 1 year, but at the time it was a 2 year program.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So the nice thing about the MBA though is when I initially graduated with my bachelor's, that's when I started working full time for my dad. And so that's when I first really dove into insurance was 2016. And then I did my MBA in the evenings as Hannah and I would watch a movie or hang out.
Newly married.
Reading a book and then write a paper on it and repeat.
those are good times though. Those hard times early on in marriage when you have no money, you're newly married. You know, you don't know what's next.
No, you're learning everything.
I mean, that's
yeah.
It's a good place to be. It keeps you humble, and that's good though. I mean, some of our, I would say early on in marriage when you have nothing is when you have the most joy. And then life comes at you and make more money, have more problems, and whatever.
The world starts telling you more things that you should be doing.
Careful. So, well, then how did you and Hannah meet?
Yeah, Hannah and I mean, you know a little bit about our story, but...
A little bit.
Yeah, so we met in 3rd grade, actually, at church. So their family came over to Salem Heights at the time, and apparently she had a crush on us from day one. She said that I thought she had pink eye. I don't remember that story exactly, but so she had a crush on me all throughout elementary, middle, high school. And I was an immature boy, focused on myself and just going through life on my own, and didn't really take like girls or relationships that seriously. And then in the college years, probably my junior, senior year at Corbin is when I was like, okay, I should probably like straighten out and mature a little bit. Think about my future and if I want to marry someone. And so at the time, Hannah and I were still friends, same friend groups. And then it was like, okay, she's like, you hear the phrase like wifey material. She was that to me. And I was like, man, she's someone I would want to marry. Like I would not want to date her. I just want to move to the marriage phase. Wow. And so,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, she was dating someone at the time, but I kind of opened my heart up and was like, hey, we've known each other for years. I want to start taking this seriously and would love to pursue a relationship and move to marriage. And so then the next day we started dating. She had broken up with the other person, and then here we are today.
Married. How many years you said? 7?
7, yeah.
And then Nora's 1.5 years. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, you have great in-laws too.
Yeah.
Russ and Pam are awesome. I noticed that you and Rick, for Rick's birthday, you guys... And Russ went with you guys as well. You guys went somewhere. Where did you guys go?
We went to Marion Lake. Yeah. So we went fishing for the weekend. So
it's a guy's trip, man.
Yeah.
That's rough.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
How many fish you catch?
Oh, I don't know. I think Rick caught the most that weekend, but I mean, we all caught over 40. So we were all thankful. Yeah.
Are you a fisherman? Do you love fishing? Is that your thing?
I wouldn't say I love it. I have all the gear for it. I will go when invited, but I don't think I will intentionally plan a fishing event.
Isn't that funny how we're wired? I mean, I grew up hunting and fishing too, but unless I get invited, I'm probably not going fishing. And the last time I went fishing, Rick Southfield's.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Took me to the secret fishing hole. I can't tell you. I have to kill you. But,
yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. I don't want to know that.
He's probably taking you there, but that's cool. No, it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a good
bunch of guys out camping and fishing, man. What a cool thing.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's just different getting out in nature a little bit and enjoy the quietness.
So tell me, having great parents, still married, which is amazing this day and age, just a great family. How's that made you who you are today? How's that influenced you? Your parents love you. You mentioned unconditionally, kind of, encourage you to do certain things, but never making you feel pressure.
Yeah.
Just encouraging you. What's that done for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think the keyword you used was encourage.
Yeah.
I mean, even through like my selfish phases of high school. And
what? You're selfish?
Yeah, I know. What?
That's weird. I don't.
Never dealt with that.
Yeah.
And so they were very patient and kind, and there was discipline, but there was also, hey, where are we going to go from here?
Yeah.
And so I think that shaped me a lot as far as just how to actually kind of have almost a different perspective throughout high school, college, because it's like you see everyone's self-absorbed at those phases because it's like you're trying to figure out who you are.
Right.
And so I appreciated their guidance in that. And I mean, my dad especially, he's been a mentor for me, high school, middle school, college, all the above, still is. And so I think that relationship has made a big difference in shaping who I am. But yeah, I mean, my parents, they disciplined us. We got spankings. We got the soap in the mouth. And if it didn't work, they would try Tabasco or some other nasty thing. But I mean, you can imagine 2 boys. We were troublemakers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was,
Whatever it takes to break the wheel a little bit, or at least soften it a little
exactly,
bit.
Yeah. We always joke because me and Heath got in trouble a lot growing up.
Yeah.
But then Josie was like the little angel. She never did anything wrong. She was just always so kind.
Or she never
loving.
got caught, let's be honest.
I don't know. She's the loving one in our family. We always say she's the one you want to get to know.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll take care of you on your deathbed,
if you're dying,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Haley may have a little bit too much of Heath and me in her, but she's still more tender than I am.
Than the guys.
Sure.
Yeah. The guys.
Yeah. And she's a lot more mature. I mean, she had 3 older siblings that were doing life while she's in elementary and middle school. So
you become who you hang with, and even if your family's older than you tend to mature up to that level. Or
she matured very quickly. It was like I remember pretty vividly, like she was in elementary school and like she was like a high schooler. It was just like, oh man, girl, you got some sass and everything.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly the girls develop faster than the men do.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my opinion. But
I took 21 years for my brain to develop and mature. So
I was farther along though. I was probably 23 before I finally.
Yeah,
it was marriage for me that really helped shape me at 23. But it was a lost cause for a long time.
Yeah, well, I think we all are until we figure out like, oh, I need to mature, and it's not all about me anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, cool. Well, let's talk about real estate because I think that's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
What got you into real estate? And you guys do a class. There's a guy I want to introduce you to. I met him at Yum Cafes. This young kid, 17.
Okay.
And we started talking at the window, and I'd come through, and there he is again. And I never tell people what I do. I just don't think that's appropriate. But he started talking about investments in real estate. I'm like, it's interesting. So I've invited him to come to your Wednesday night event next Wednesday.
Awesome.
But his name's Alex.
Okay.
And he's a cool young kid.
Yeah, hopefully he comes. Yeah.
So anyway, I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Yeah, but walk me through your journey and how do you encourage people to get involved in real estate? Because I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I started, obviously, like insurance is the route I went career-wise. And I mean, when you
got your day job.
Yeah, when you look at insurance, it's similar to like different industries, whether it's mortgage, real estate, financial services. But like you said, it's not necessarily like fun, or there's not a lot of risk to it. It's very, it is what it is. I mean, rates are set how they are, and it's a very just slow and steady growth industry because it's designed, hopefully you never have to use it, but it's there to protect you. And so I really enjoy that side of the safety and just building the team out that way. But when I looked at what do I want to do personally with investments, whether it's retirement, real estate, I'd always liked the idea of real estate. I didn't really know why. There was some draw to it. And so when my wife and I first got married, we bought our first house. You remember that? Yeah.
I think I do,
2016. Yep. And so back when rates were really good, back when home prices were really low, it was just right before the rise of
It's too bad we can go back there and buy like 10 more homes.
I know. I look at it now. I'm like, man, I should have
But in 10 years,
it'll be the same thing.
Gosh, I wish I had bought 10 homes. See, back then when you bought your first home, we weren't saying we should buy 10 homes.
No. Yep.
But it's
you don't know. Yeah, you don't know how it'll all shape out. But I mean, I read when we bought our first house, I guess we weren't in the investment mindset. It was to buy and build some equity appreciation. And then down the road, it was like, okay, like most people would tell you, sell your house and then take that money, go buy a bigger house, keep your monthly payment the same. And so that's what we were being told as we lived there for a while. And I was like, okay, I mean, that makes sense. Get a bigger house, same payment. Yeah, why not? But probably a year or two into being there, I had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yep. And so
love that book.
Yeah. And so he obviously Kiyosaki has like all these podcasts and everything out there. But that was kind of my first intro, was reading that book. And it was more so just a mindset shift of how do I look at what I'm purchasing? Is it an asset? Is it a liability? I mean, there's really only two categories. And so when I looked at that, I was like, okay, so let's save for another house and let's keep our old house and rent it out. And so that's really what changed for me. And so it was in 2019 that we bought our first duplex.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting duplex because it's 2 homes on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's actually 2 completely separate single family homes.
Yeah. Tells me it's a pretty old one because that's not how a duplex is made today.
No, yeah.
But that's okay.
Yep.
2
So
homes on one lot.
the main house was a 1919 home.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 100 years old.
Yeah.
And then the smaller house on the backside, I think it was newer, maybe like 60s, 70s. So it was built after the fact.
Is it like an ADU or is it the same size?
Almost. No, it probably was done as an ADU.
So smaller in size.
Mm-hmm, yeah, much smaller. But yeah, it worked really well for us because we lived in the main house.
Yeah.
We did some odd projects. I mean, even our first house, we always tried to find some way to add value.
Mm-hmm,
so like we would do flooring, painting, trim, baseboards. Just little.
Did you do that work yourself or you hired that out?
No, I did all the one on the first house myself.
Did?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I painted exterior, we did interior, we did floors. Yeah. Baseboards. Yeah. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm. It is a lot.
Mm-hmm. But when you're young, like you said, you don't have money. So you do it yourself
figure
and figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So YouTube University is where I went for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we did our first purchase with the duplex. And with both of those, we did pretty minimal down. And I would take calculations into account as far as, okay, what do I have to rent it at to cover the expenses?
Yeah.
And down the road, will appreciation help that? And both of them, the numbers worked. And so I was like, okay. But it's interesting because when we bought the duplex, the first night we slept there, I couldn't fall asleep because my mind was just spinning as did I just make the worst decision of my life? And I had to recalculate all the numbers in my head to be like, no, it'll work out. Because I mean, it was at the time a big expense and a lot of risk because I was placing 2 tenants at once.
Right.
And so it was all a learning curve right from there.
Just to pause for a moment, it's good for people to hear that you're a real dude, you have real emotions, and you can second guess yourself. There is sometimes an element of fear, doing investment, but, doing calculated risk and moving forward, continue your story. But I think that's really important for people to hear that there is risk involved, but it is calculated. It's not like, hey, up for chance.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't just say I'm going to buy real estate and spend money on a down payment.
Right.
It was calculated. Exactly.
Perfect.
And so after being at that house and location, the plan from there on was just to keep doing the same exact thing. So from day one, we just started saving any rental income. We started saving any of our own income, just putting it aside for the next down payment. Yeah. And so it was about a year later, we did the exact same thing. We found another house, got a pretty good deal on it because there was a little bit of work needed. Just carpets were all trashed, old flooring, all that, bad paint, really bad paint.
Perfect.
And so, it was great because we had made an offer and we were told, no, you didn't get it. And then a month or 2 later after, that offer fell through. And so we got selected as the one to step in. And we were like, wait, what house? Who? Yeah.
We've looked at how many houses now?
Exactly. Yeah. I think we had made 2 other offers. And so we were just like, wait, how long ago was this? Yeah. And so we were really excited. So we basically, when we closed on that one, we ripped out everything from the flooring up, and then we redid the flooring throughout the whole thing, redid baseboards, painted it all, and then moved out of the duplex, rented out our house that we had left at the time, and then did that. Yeah. And so when we did that move, that one was more of realizing, this is not just a way to help cover expenses. This is a way you can make money. And so from then it was trying to think of how can we add enough real estate to supplement Hannah's income for having a kid. Yeah. Because that was the goal was whenever she had a kid, whenever we had our daughter, how can we make sure she can stay home with Nora? Because that was always her passion, and I've always loved that idea of just having a stay-at-home mom.
And that was her passion as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not everyone's. Some people want to work, and that's awesome.
Totally cool as well. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she enjoys that role, and so that was the goal, was to have the real estate replace her income and supplement that,
Yeah.
which it all worked out. And so here we are today.
Yeah, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, Robert Kiyosaki. I read the book probably 20 years ago, and it changed my mind.
Yep.
You know, I thought owning a house was an asset, but technically your own home is a liability, because if you stop paying, how long does it take before the bank takes that home back? So real estate is an avenue. But and then you have some crazy guys like Grant Cardone who says, you know what, never own your own home, only buy investment properties. Okay, that's interesting. Like I'm not against that. If that's what it takes to build wealth, do whatever it takes. I actually can appreciate that. So, but whatever you do, figure out the plan and stick to it. The biggest regret I have is that I didn't keep all the homes I'd owned over the last 25 years. The first home my wife and I bought in 1995, it felt like a lot. $86,000 felt like a lot of money. Like, are you kidding me? I think I sold it 5 years later for $130. I thought, I've made the big money. And I got really excited about that. And that was a journey, but buying and flipping more than buying and holding. But I think what you're doing is long-term. Well, I learned one time, maybe this will be good for you, is I learned from a CPA at the time. He was probably late 60s, early 70s, and we were buying and flipping. And he goes, you know, it's not the real estate you buy and sell today. It's the real estate when you're 70 that matters, that you still own. So real estate is a long-term game.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you do it that way, you can build wealth. I was meeting with a friend this week. He owns probably 10 doors. You know, he's doing pretty well, in my opinion. I think it's great. And he's like sharing with me, he goes, you know, but the problem is, my very first home and the next, I think it's either a duplex or a fourplex, he sold. He goes, if I'd have kept those from 15 years ago, I'd be retired today. Yeah. But that's, you know, living and learning. Yeah. And so I would say, to your point, you haven't sold any property yet. Keep your properties long-term. And when because you're 29. When you're 49, so 20 years from now, what does that look like? That's
it'll be crazy, because that's my plan is long-term holds. I mean, like you said, everyone has a different way to go about it, whether it's Dave Ramsey, whether it's Grant Cardone, whether it's whoever it is, Robert Kiyosaki, they all have their way of building wealth. They're all designed for different personalities, really. And so like mine, I don't know what I want to build it to yet. I really haven't game planned that, but I don't have a plan of stopping, at least at this point. My plan is just to keep accumulating, push savings towards buying real estate. And as long as the numbers work, then it's still worth buying.
Numbers got to work. Well, and as you move forward, so you let's talk about your event that you do on the first Wednesday of every month. That might be interesting. I want you to maybe talk briefly about buying property outside of Oregon, because if you ever listen to Bigger Pockets podcast, I know you do, and I know you probably know all what I'm going to probably mention here, but you know, Oregon, some of the politics that's going on can or has had some challenges as far as being a landlord, the landlord-tenant rules and laws. Thoughts on that? Just know.
I mean, landlord-tenant laws are not favorable in Oregon at all, and so I have looked at actually out-of-state investing. I just haven't taken that leap. It's a fear factor right now because I'm doing what I'm comfortable with. I'm buying homes I can see, touch, walk through, and self-manage. And so I think there's a lot of risk with self-managing, especially in Oregon, but I think you can handle a lot of that pretty well if you screen well on the front end. When you get to know your applicants and your tenants, you're going to put good people there that they're not necessarily going to care. Did you send the letter out 7 days by mail to me by this date, so that way I could move out or get my deposit? And so it's finding people like that are actually just people wanting to work with you, not people trying to take advantage of you.
Right. That's key.
Yeah.
Character stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing we always hear the bad stories, but in reality, you know, 98% of all people are just going to do the right thing. There's always that small population that's going to take advantage of the situation. So,
and I think I learned early on, my second tenant actually was not a good tenant, took advantage of me because I did not do due diligence on screening them well. And so that's where I kind of learned okay, it's my fault. I take the blame for that.
Yep.
And you lose a little money, and hopefully it's not a lot your first mistake,
Yeah.
but you hopefully learn from that. And that's kind of what I
Yeah.
viewed it as. I paid for a mistake that gave me education. So,
Hey, mistakes are great if we learn from them. And
Yep.
it sounds like you learn from it. How do you, is there like a site you go to where you do a background check? How do you do that?
yeah, I use 3 main ones. So I use Zillow and apartments.com are my big 2. And then I use rentspree.com. And so that one, you send them a link, they can apply through it. Whereas Zillow and apartments.com, you have to have an active listing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You said that's rents.com?
Rentspree.com.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, you put it in there as your address and you put your criteria and then you just copy paste, send the link. And so I don't use that one as often because most people find it through Zillow or apartments.com. But
got it. It's good to know, man.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I know you're in the insurance world, so we're getting here to wrap up here in just a moment. But mortgage rates are high, everything's high, inflation's high, insurance rates are high. Yet State Farm still remains strong.
Yeah,
you guys have done some good stuff. Let's hear a plug from State Farm and kind of how you guys are managing that. I mean, people are like, "Hey, everything's higher. Everybody's shopping everything, right?"
Yeah.
How do you help people navigate through that? State Farm is a long-term company to stay with.
I think the key word there is long-term. I mean, you've done this for years, but working with local people, it changes everything when crisis happens. When a roadblock comes up, it's easier to call me and you versus a 1-800 number. Yeah. And so I think that's a huge advantage. As far as like cost goes with inflation, we're telling everyone, and it is what it is, but inflation, uninsured drivers, the cost of materials, everything's gone up so much the last 2 to 3 years that all insurance companies are going up. State Farm is increasing generally about 14 to 18%. Other companies we're seeing 30 to 200%. And so it's like, it's quickly developing into just the year of shopping. Everyone's kind of just making sure, is this company the best fit for me? Generally, State Farm is a great fit for the long-term people. If you're shopping costs every 6 months, every year, then you're going to shop costs every 6 months to a year for the rest of your life. And that's okay. It's just a lot more work, and usually not a lot of savings comes through that.
And what I know that a lot of people just shop cost, but they don't actually know what it is that they're getting. I think that's probably where you, as an educator, you care about people. It's like, hey, you can go shop wherever, but let me ask you what your protection is. And so you probably go through that and help people make better decisions.
Yeah, exactly. We always try to give people at least an apples to apples, and we always let them know, hey, these are probably some changes, some direction I would give you, whether you move forward with us or if you stay with your current company, consider these pieces. Because
key word is, I like that soft consider. You're not trying to tell people what to do. You love on them. And I bet you if you pursue those people in 6 months, they're going to realize that they didn't get taken care of, and they're coming back to you anyway. Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, is we try to give people, at least our job's not to tell them what to do. It's really just to say, hey, here's what we have. If we're a great fit, if you love our office, our team, go with us. If you don't, that's okay. Yeah.
What does, speaking of inflation, when's inflation coming down, Alex?
Oh, boy.
I don't know if State Farm talks about that, but I know it's kind of a misnomer. And we see inflation coming down a little bit. But what do you think? You have any insight on that?
That's a great question. I honestly don't. I mean, everything I've read and heard, it's like election year's coming, so that'll affect things. But I mean, when you look at especially housing, I don't see the cost of housing dropping. I see them right now is kind of where they're at. They'll probably increase again. And I think it's just the steady rise of what it is. It's our industry. I don't know. Would you say?
I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, and I know that mortgage rates follow inflation. So as inflation's higher, rates are higher as inflation comes down. If we just make the Federal Reserve stay out of it and stop manipulating rates, it would be great, and let the free market do what it does. That would be awesome. But
I was going to say, that's the hard part is, I mean,
we don't live
not
in that
free
world.
market.
We don't know what's going on because we don't know what they're going to do. But hey, any thoughts as we wrap up here? any words of wisdom that maybe we didn't cover that you just want to share with somebody? Is there something that's just on your heart that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think that even how you started and just talking about my family history, and it's hard for guys like just young men to find mentors or just decide they're okay with someone having a voice in their life. I would encourage people to talk to those that you look up to and try to glean things from them. You don't have to copy what they do, but if you can go just hear their story and learn from their mistakes, that's something I was always encouraged to do growing up, is watch my mistakes, not my successes, because
that's good.
Mistakes you can choose to not repeat them. Successes, there's so many routes to success. And so if you can learn from those failures and mistakes, then that'll help a lot.
It's great advice. And I assume you have many people who speak in your life that hold you accountable, that mentor you. You probably mentor people.
Yeah.
And you probably heard that, show me who your 5 friends are and I'll show you what your life will look like.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing I always talk about is men love to isolate. We think we can do it ourselves. We don't want to tell people our problems, and it's a pride thing, But if we can actually be honest and, be around other men, it'll sharpen us. We'll become better. And I think at 29, most men maybe never actually mature to a level they could without that influence. So good job. Kudos to you for getting influenced or being influenced by people like your dad and Bruce and maybe Russ and whoever else. So, well, brother, it's been fun having you on the show. Appreciate you. Appreciate your commitment to our community. You guys are everywhere. You show up at all the events. I've never been to an event that I don't think haven't seen you at. So
that's good to hear.
That's pretty cool. But
no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Really.
Yeah. No, we love having you. And well, thank you for everyone who listens each week. We appreciate you. We appreciate the Rec for hosting this and putting our podcast together. If you know of anybody that has a story they'd love to share, or if you have a story you want to share, reach out to me. I really want to hear your story. I'd love to share, help you share it. And we appreciate you. So thank you. We'll see you next week.